executive committee member engaged in acts of misconduct constituting justifiable or lawful grounds for his dismissal by committing all unreasonable and sufficient ground is suspected of having committed a criminal offense against all to the substantial detriment of his employer or employer's property as set out in Section 14G of the Employment Act, Revised Edition 2022 of 2027. Dr. Alfred Ndemo, the County Executive Committee member, while serving as the CCM Trade, Tourism and Industry, authored and authored on 28 April 2023 a letter purporting to appoint him to the Implementation Committee for the establishment of Kisii County Industrial Park, while knowing that the Governor, Kisii County government, never uttered or made any such appointment. The county government of Kisii, employer of the CCM, reasonably believe on the ground of authoring and uttering the said letter and subsequent activities flowing therefrom, that the CCM is reasonably suspected of having forged and uttered a false document contrary to the provision of Section 353 of the Penal Code, which provides that any person who knowingly or fraudulently utters a false document is guilty of an offense of the same kind and is liable to the same punishment as if he had forged the thing in question. Number 2, gross violation of the Constitution. By virtue of the County Executive Committee member, Dr. Alfred Ndemo, purporting to have been appointed by the Governor to the Implementation Committee for the establishment of Kisii County Industrial Park, while knowing that the same to be untrue, and therefore thereafter, by spearheading the project without authorization, breached the provisions of Article 10(2)(3)(2) and Article 73(2)(d) of the Constitution, which obligates public officers to observe the national values and principles of governance when making or implementing public policy decisions, and requiring of the officer high standards of professional ethics and be accountable to the public for decisions and actions that are taken by the officer. Number 3, gross violation of other laws. The said acts by the County Executive Committee member, Dr. Alfred Ndemo, of authoring and uttering on 28 April 2023 a letter purporting to appoint him to the Implementation Committee for the establishment of Kisii County Industrial Park, while knowing the same to be false, constitute breach of Section 9 of Public Officer Ethics Act, which requires public officer to carry out his duties in a way that maintains public confidence in the integrity of his office. The said acts by the CCM are in breach of provisions of the Leadership Integrity Act. In particular, Section 3 requires a state officer to respect the values, principles, and requirements of the Constitution under Article 10 of the Constitution. The responsibilities of leadership provides for under Article 73 of the Constitution, the principles governing the conduct of state officers provided for under Article 75 of the Constitution. Particularly, a state officer shall behave in a manner that avoids demeaning the office the officer holds in breach the officer holds, in breach whereof the officer may, in accordance with the disciplinary procedures, be dismissed or otherwise removed from office, and in so far as relevant the values and principles of public service as provided for under Article 232 of the Constitution and other breach Section 8, 9, 10, 11, and 13 of Leadership and Integrity Act with regard to breach of public trust and professionalism in the performance of his duties. The County Executive Committee member, Dr. Ndemo Alfred Ongera, breached Section 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act, which bars a state officer from bullying any person when he bullied several employees as in case of seeking information from other departments. Number 4, abuse of office. The county executive committee member, Dr. Alfred Ndemo, has abused his office contrary to Section 45, as read with Section 48(1) of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act number 3 of 2003. Being a public officer, he has used his office to improperly confer on himself a favor or advantage which he was not otherwise entitled to, as espoused in Philomena Bele Mwilu versus DPP and others in 2018, or in John Simiyu Kahemba and others versus Republic of Kenya 2020. That the offense of abuse of office is committed through improper use of public office, which could in county government without adhering to the prescribed procedures and regulations. The county executive committee member, on being reassigned from the Department of Trade, Tourism, Industry and Marketing to his current Department of Public Service, County Administration, Public Participation and Office of the Governor, Kisii County Government, illegally and unlawfully purported to create the position of an additional human resource officer position for public participation and disaster management, which is not within his mandate to create, but reserved for the County Executive Committee and the County Public Service Board, are set out in Section 46 of the County Government Act revised in 2022. Honorable Richmond Manani was guided by Section 42 of the County Government Act 2020 of 2012, which provides that a member of the County Assembly, supported by at least 1/3 of all the members of the County Assembly, may propose a motion requiring the Governor to dismiss a County Executive member or any of the following grounds. 1, incompetency. 2, abuse of office. 3, gross misconduct. And 4, failure without reasonable excuse or written authority of the Governor to attend 3 consecutive meetings for the County Executive Committee. Physical or mental incapacity, rendering the Executive Committee member incapable of performing the duties of the said office. Yes. Procedurally, Standing Order 62(1) provided that before giving a notice of motion under Section 40 of the County Government Act of 2012, the member shall deliver to the clerk a copy of the proposed motion in written, stating the grounds and the particulars upon which the proposal is made. For requiring the Governor to dismiss a member of the Executive Committee on grounds of gross violation of provisions of the Constitution or other law, where there are serious reasons for believing that the CEM has committed a crime under national or international law, or for gross misconduct, the notice of motion shall be signed by the member, and the clerk shall submit the proposal motion to the Speaker for approval. Section 40. The motion presented on the removal from office of the County Executive Member, CEM, Public Service, County Administration, Public Participation, and Office of the Governor, Kisii County Government was in the prescribed form and met the threshold because 1, it was signed by 41 members of Kisii County Assembly in support. 2, it was written. 3, it stated the grounds and the particulars upon which the sponsor proposed dismissal of the CEM. Number 4, it was signed by the member of the County Assembly, Bogeka Ward. Number 5, was accompanied by necessary evidence, including sworn testimonies in respect to allegations. having found the proposed motion met the required threshold as to form the admissibility of the grounds contained in the motion for removal from office, the County Executive Committee member, Public Service, County Administration, Public Participation, and Office of the Governor, Kisii County Government, the Honorable Speaker approved the motion for tabling, which was done on Wednesday, 15th May 2024 during the morning sitting. For those of you who have gotten the copy on page 7, you can be able to see the motion that was tabled by the Honorable Richmond Manani. Establishment of the committee. Section 43A of the County Government Act of 2012, Understanding Order 62.6 provides, Mr. Speaker, there is noise from Mr. Monyenya.
Order, honorable members.
Provides for appointment of the select committee comprising 5 members to investigate the allegations contained in the motion. Further, Section 43B of the County Government Act of 2012, Understanding Order number 62.6 provides that the select committee shall report to the House whether it finds the allegations against the County Executive Committee member to be substantiated or otherwise. The committee membership, following the communication by the Speaker, requesting the leader of majority and the leader of minority parties to submit names of the members for appointment to the select committee. Yes.
You may give the clerks like 2-3 minutes to be able to supply them, so the people can concentrate.
Most obliged.
Yes. Clerks, you are also not supplied water. I can't see water in the tables of honorable members. Honorable Mutume, you may proceed.
Okay. Subsequently, on 21st of May 2024, the House established the Select Committee pursuant to Section 43, the County Government Act of 2012, Understanding Order number 62.6, comprising of Honorable Michael Mutume, Honorable Victor Umbasa, Honorable Lilian Mundi, Honorable Baus Mairura, and Honorable Lilian Gore. Background information and legal framework. A member of the County Assembly, supported by at least 1/3 of all members of the County Assembly, may propose a motion requiring the governor to dismiss a County Executive Committee member on any of the following grounds. I think I read this one before. Those of you who have the document, I'm skipping to page 13. Speaker's communication and the referral of the motion. Pursuant to Standing Order number 62.3, the Honorable Speaker directed that the motion be disposed of within 3 days of receipt of the notice of motion. On 21st May, the Honorable Speaker directed that the Select Committee must operate within requirements of the Constitution, relevant statutes, and provisions of the Standing Order. He further directed that the committee should conclude its investigations and submit its report to the House within 10 days of its appointment, and not later than Friday, the 1st of May 2024. Conduct of committee proceedings, page 14. Meetings of the Select Committee. Following the establishment on 21st May of 2024, the Select Committee held the first sitting on Wednesday, 22nd May 2024 at 11 a.m. Pursuant to Standing Order number 161, the committee elected the chairperson, Honorable Michael Mutume. Invitations to appear. The committee observed that Section 40 of number 4 of the County Government Act 2012 provides the right of the County Executive Committee member to appear and be represented before the Select Committee during its investigations. Having made these observations and taking into account the strict timelines, the committee at its first meeting held on Wednesday, 21st May 2024, resolved to invite the mover of the motion and the County Executive Committee member to appear before the committee for hearing of the evidence. Pre-hearing conference pursuant to Standing Order number 172 on powers and privileges of committee. The committee via a letter dated 22nd May 2024 invited the mover to the motion of the County Executive Committee member to a pre-hearing conference on Thursday, 23rd May 2024 at 8 a.m. in the clerk's boardroom. To this end, the sponsor of the motion and the County Executive Committee member were represented by their advocates in the pre-hearing conference on Thursday. The purpose of the conference was to confirm the documentation and evidence served and received, be appraised of the applicable procedure, and consider any preliminary questions to the proceedings of the committee. The advocates of both parties agreed that the proceedings to start on Friday, 24th of May 2024 at 8 a.m. in the clerk's boardroom, and they presented their witnesses. Conduct of proceedings, preliminary issues. On Thursday, 23rd May 2024, the committee held a pre-hearing conference of the parties to confirm the documentation and evidence served and received, be appraised to the applicable procedure, and consider any preliminary questions relating to the proceedings of the committee. Reading of particulars of the allegations. At the commencement, the chairperson directed the clerk to read out the particulars of the allegations against the County Executive Committee member as appearing in the motion. In response to the allegations, the Executive Committee member denied all allegations. Hearing of evidence. The committee held a sitting on Friday, 24th of May 2024 to hear the evidence, submissions of the parties. The verbatim evidence adduced is as recorded in the hazard is attached to this report. I now take you, honorable members, to page number 29. The committee proceedings. The committee took evidence from the following people: Honorable Manani Richmond Rayori, Chairperson, Culture, Youth, Sports and Social Services, who is also the mover. It took also evidence from Hulda Ogora Mora, number 3, Margaret Kerubo Okengo, number 4, Douglas Bobombo Omariba, number 5, Maureen Bosire, and number 6, Dr. Alfred Ndemo, County Executive Committee member, CEM Public Service, County Administration, Public Participation, and the Office of the Governor, Kisii County. The accused. Honorable members, you will allow me to go to page 45. So we have the document. Let's work together. Committee observations. The committee made the following observations. Gross misconduct. Number 1, the County Executive Committee member engaged in acts of misconduct constituting justifiable or lawful grounds for the dismissal by committing or reasonable and sufficient ground is suspected of having committed a crime, offense, or to the substantial detriment of his employer or employee's property as set out in section 44G of the Employment Act, revised edition of 2022. There was nexus between the County Executive Committee member and the alleged misconduct. The allegations as framed state with a degree of precision the articles and sub-articles of the Constitution, of the provisions of any other written law that have been alleged to be grossly violated. Number two, gross violation of the Constitution. The committee executive member, Dr. Alfred Ndemo, purported to have been appointed by the governor to the implementation committee for the establishment of Kisii County Industrial Park, while knowing the same to be untrue, and therefore, by spearheading the project without authorization, breached the provision of Article 10, Article 232, and Article 73 2D of the Constitution, which obligates public officers to observe the national values and principles of governance when making or implementing public policy decisions, and requiring of their office high standards of professional ethics and be accountable to the public for the decisions and actions undertaken by the officer. Number three, gross violation of other laws. The County Executive Committee member, Dr. Alfred Ndemo, authored and authored on 28 April 2023 a letter purporting to appoint him to the Implementation Committee for the establishment of Kisii County Industrial Park, while knowing that the same to be false constitute a breach of Section 9 of the Public Officer Ethics Act, which requires public officer to carry his duties in a way that maintains public confidence in the integrity of his office. The said acts by the CCM are in breach of provisions of the Leadership and the Integrity Act, in particular Section 3, which requires state officers to respect the values, principles, and requirements of the Constitution, under Article 10 of the Constitution. The responsibilities of leadership provides for under Article 73 of the Constitution, the principles governing the conduct of state officers provided for under Section 75 of the Constitution. Particularly, a state officer shall behave in a manner that shall behave in a manner that avoids demeaning the office the officer holds in breach, whereof the officer may, in accordance with the disciplinary procedures, be dismissed or otherwise removed from office in so far as relevant the values and principles of public service and provided for under Article 232. Let's go to abuse of office. Abuse of office, number 46, page 46. The County Executive Committee member, Dr. Alfred Ndemo abused this office contrary to Section 45, as read with Section 48(1) of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act number 3 of 2003. Being a public officer, he has used this office to improperly confer on himself a favor or advantage which he was not otherwise entitled to, as espoused in Philomena Mbele Mwilu versus DPP and others, and also in John Simiyu Kaemba and another versus the Republic of Kenya in 2020, that the offense of abuse of office is committed through improper use of public office, which could include conscious violation of non-adherence to the prescribed procedures and regulations with the aim of conferring a benefit on the public officer himself or another person. Committee findings, page 47. The committee finds that the allegations under ground number 1 on gross misconduct, ground number 2 on gross violation of the Constitution, ground number 3 violation of other law, and the ground number 4 on abuse of office as outlined in the motion are substantiated. Committee recommendations. Having considered the provisions of Section 40 of the County Government Act 2012 and standing orders, the committee recommends to the House as follows: that pursuant to Section 43 of the County Government Executive Committee member in charge of administration, public participation, and office of the governor, substantiated, the committee tables this report to this House for further considerations. However, I'm about to finish. However, the minority dissenting opinion on the report of the Select Committee investigating the proposed removal of Dr. Alfred Ndemo, the County Executive Committee member on Administration, Public Participation, and Office of the Governor. Honorable Baus Mairura and Honorable Lillian Gore recorded a minority or dissenting opinion against the report of the Select Committee, and they noted as follows. On gross misconduct, the mover claimed that the CEM trade authored and authored on 28th of April 2023 a letter purporting to appoint him to the implementation committee. When provided with an opportunity to ascertain the authenticity of the letter, the mover said that it was hard or difficult to confirm who had authored the letter. It was only known to him. And on gross violation of the Constitution, the mover indicated that Article 10, 232 and 773 2D had been violated by the accused because he purported to have been appointed by the governor to support his claim. The mover presented a committee with a typed letter which had no signature on the letterhead. Honorable members, those of you who have got the document can go to page 50 on gross misconduct, on gross violation of other law. Also, there are dissenting opinions. The articles of office, you'll find it on page 51. Adoption schedule. We, the undersigned members of the Select Committee investigating the proposed removal of Dr. Alfred Ndemo, the County Executive Committee member on Administration, Public Participation, and Office of the Governor today, Tuesday, 28 May of 2024, do hereby affix our signatures to this report on the Select Committee investigating the proposed removal of Dr. Alfred Ndemo, the Committee Executive Member on Administration, Public Participation, and Office of the Governor, to affirm our approval and confirm its accuracy, validity, and authenticity. And there you will find Honorable Michael Mutume, Victor Umbasa, and Lillian Gore. And of those who had the Lillian Omunde, I'm sorry, Lillian Omunde. And those who dissented, we, the undersigned, recommend that the allegations against Dr. Alfred Ndemo,
as the members of the ad hoc committee, we had a chance to interact with the key witnesses. At the same time, the advocate for both parties. Honorable Speaker, as a committee, we found out that number one, the County Executive Committee member, Dr. Ndemo, illegally created the position for the Human Resource Officer, Public Participation, Disaster Management, which was not within his mandate. Number two, Honorable Speaker, by the virtue of his position as a County Executive Committee member, Dr. Ndemo bullied employees in order to get information from other departments. Also, he authored and authored the letters for his personal gains. Number three, Honorable Speaker, Dr. Ndemo assigned himself an enforcement officer as his bodyguard without following the right procedure or without following the proper procedure. Finally, Honorable Speaker, there is breach of leadership and integrity code. Therefore, the County Executive Committee member, Dr. Ndemo, should take personal responsibility for his code of conduct and serve as an example to the rest of other county executive committee members who are violating the constitution at the same time and going against the law. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, I now propose a question, which is that this House do adopt a report of the Select Committee investigating the proposed removal from office of the County Executive Committee member, CECM, Public Service, County Administration, Public Participation, and Office of the Governor, Dr. Alfred Ndemo tabled on Tuesday, 28 May 2024. Honorable members, as we proceed to debate, I draw your attention to standing order number 62, 8, 9, and 10. I paraphrase. 8. No further proceedings shall be taken on the matter if the Select Committee finds the allegations unsubstantiated. Number 9. If the Select Committee reports that it finds the allegations substantiated, the County Assembly shall afford the members of the County Executive an opportunity to be heard and vote whether to approve the resolution requiring the member of the County Executive to be dismissed. If a resolution requiring the Governor to dismiss a member of the County Executive is supported by a majority of the members of the County Assembly, the Speaker shall promptly deliver the resolution to the Governor and the member shall be considered dismissed. Honorable members, this is your time to debate. Leader for minority. Honorable Leader of minority.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For the visitors, my name is Ndemo, and I was given the honor to serve the honorable members as the leader of minority in this House, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the members who did this report. And Mr. Speaker, I remember having asked the mover of the motion to withdraw this. And Mr. Speaker, I rise with a lot of humility to oppose this motion. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the report, even what Motuma has alluded here, Mr. Speaker, does not have substantive matters.
Honorable Leader, I want to believe, just a minute, I want to believe that it's not Honorable Motuma who was alluded. It's the committee report.
Yes,
I'm saying like it's not an individual who was made those recommendations.
Yes, thank you for the correction. Mr. Speaker, this does not meet the threshold of removing the CEC who has barely served 1 year in office. Mr. Speaker, these are matters to me that are very light, that the governor can use other means to make some, if there are any administrative measures. Mr. Speaker, when we talk about impeaching the person who has a PhD, who has gone up to London School of Economics to study, you are asking this House to send a young man home and he will never be employed by anybody, Mr. Speaker. This is a young man who has a young family. The youngest child is only 5 months. And you are asking us, people elected and entrusted by the people of Kisii County, to destroy the life of this gentleman, for simply asking if that is true, a man who is allowed to work under him as an enforcement officer, just to play God. Mr. Speaker, really, if you look at it, Mr. Speaker, I know Dr. Ndemo campaigned vigorously for Governor Simbarat. he personally came up to my home to ask me to vote for Governor Simbarati. And Mr. Speaker, in Kenya, like in other countries, like in America, when people campaign, they expect, even those people who support us, Mr. Speaker, a lot of them even now expect us to give them jobs. Ndemo is one of the beneficiaries who have gained from this government, and we are sending him home. And we have also done a lot within a very short time, Mr. Speaker. I am asking the governor of Kisii County to avoid destroying lives of the people he gave jobs in government. If what has happened to Sonko in Nairobi and Baba Yao in Kiambu, people will never be able to serve anywhere in the office. This is a man who can teach in the university, he can work anywhere. So with the powers we have, let us not use them. So I want, as I said with humility, to ask my colleagues not to impeach this gentleman. It's very painful to give somebody a job, and actually within 12 months, you want to destroy the life of a man who is trying to make life ends meet. So, Mr. Speaker, even I'm looking at the committee, our team from here, they say the people who made the allegations could not answer their questions. They came and they ran away. So, Mr. Speaker, these claims here are not substantiated and they don't meet the threshold. So I want to urge my colleagues, please, reprove this man, and then you can find another way of exiting from the government, because life can proceed for him without necessarily being a CEC. But let us not destroy him by impeaching him. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, tomorrow any one of us can become a CEC in a county government. Myself, yourself, or any other. You do not have to go through this mudslinging. Your sister or brother can become a CEC, or they are. Imagine of this. And, Mr. Speaker, through the leadership of the government, honorable leader, my friend, please let us find other ways of resolving our differences in government without bringing impeachments. These are painful processes. They are provided there for people who have gross misconduct. Mr. Speaker, asking an enforcement officer to escort you to your home, and you know he was working for the government, it's not a gross misconduct, Mr. Speaker. These letters, he has a letter appointed by the governor that on a Richmond disputes, but he was given a letter by the governor to act in what he did. So, Mr. Speaker, for me, and I am sure my colleagues will agree with me, let us not impeach this. This does not meet the threshold, and let us, as representatives of the people of Kisii County, be used to destroy instead of building the lives of the people whom we have been entrusted. We have powers of the High Court. We have been elected by the people of Kisii, and to be given the powers to assist them. Mr. Speaker, there are a lot of other issues. The other CECs who have never done anything. In fact, Dr. Ndemo doesn't even have a budget. There are people who have not even constructed a dispensary since they came. Nothing has happened, and we cannot see. Those are the people who failed, probably, and we do not want to impeach them. We only want to talk to them to make sure they deliver. So, Mr. Speaker, with a lot of humility, I ask this House to reject this report because it is not meeting the threshold. But above all, Mr. Speaker, we cannot be used to destroy the life of this gentleman. Mr. Speaker, I oppose.
Honorable, switch off your microphone, Honorable Leader. Aboriginal Manani, and Honorable Leader Chana for help.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. For this Honorable Speaker, as the mover of this motion, I think I'm very sorry for my little minority for misleading the House, since they could have gone through the documents. The accused person, who is the minister, that is for public participation, Dr. Ndemo, is also my good friend. But when it comes, Honorable Speaker, when it comes to the rule of law, it cuts across. Whether you are my brother, whether you are my mother, I don't care. This is a public office that this gentleman was given to serve. Having a PhD doesn't guarantee one to contravene established laws. Actually, many learned fellows outside here are suffering. Others are using their academic qualifications to con people, to molest the law. We must bring sanity to this system. Even if it's the governor, I don't care. I'll not hesitate to bring the motion. But for this one, Honorable Speaker, we have every right. This is not a political witch hunt. It is a contravention of the law, which is very clear. Had the leader of minority attended the proceedings, they could have really understood what I meant. So, Honorable Speaker, for this time, we had allegations of fake letters. You cannot purport to fake a letter to award yourself a responsibility of going to draw allowances from the public coffers. Then, in the name of saying you have a PhD, man, we have gone to school. We have a lot of people here, Honorable Speaker, who have gone to school. You cannot use your academic qualifications thinking that you cannot break the law, Honorable Speaker. For Honorable Speaker, I would urge honorable members to have a brief at the documents. They make a decision as the committee made. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Amos Oderi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this is going to remain as one of the most memorable afternoon in the Assembly of Kisii County. Honorable Speaker, I have listened to Honorable Dennis Yombachi make a presentation. And when this motion was not being moved in this House, I did address myself, Honorable Speaker, on what is the legal implication of impeachment. Honorable Speaker, if you have gone through this document, it touches many times on the Leadership and Integrity Act. And you know why, Speaker? It is because if a member is impeached, Honorable Speaker, that it is actually deemed that that person has violated Chapter 6 of the Constitution. And you have condemned that person to a level that they will never again hold any public office. Honorable Ndemo is barely 50 years old, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to mention with 3 young children. In fact, a few days ago, I was asking Ndemo how far the children are. And none of the child is in the university. But you are telling this young person to go home. There is no salary, and he will never hold any public office, and he will never take the 3 boys to school. Honorable Speaker, is it something that honorable members can sit in this House and preside on? Honorable Speaker, I have looked through this document, and Honorable Speaker, is Honorable Mutume took us to page 25 and ran all the way to 25 to 45, Honorable Speaker. it actually contained the procedure that they undertook to look through the evidence that was adduced under the speaker. And I have had a very quick scan. Under the speaker, you will always see it is actually from the first allegation, which just touches on gross misconduct. The content under gross misconduct literally mutates, and you find the allegations under gross misconduct again under gross violation of the Constitution, and we run all the way to gross violation of the law. So one allegation mutating under about three areas under the speaker. Under the speaker, I have looked through the finding of this committee, and I can tell you the findings of this committee. Ordinarily, they have picked what the mover had adduced as evidence, and they converted that to be the finding of the committee under the speaker. And that is the reason as why I choose to rely on the report on page 49, under the speaker page. In fact, let me rely on the report on page 49, yes. And I was speaking to address myself to three issues before I make a conclusion. The Honorable Lilian Gwari and the team that started that committee are also making their own observations. In paragraph 1 of page 49, in the dissenting report, which is a product of Standing Order 180, paragraph 5, it says, when provided with an opportunity to ascertain the authenticity of the letter, the mover said that it was difficult to confirm who had authored the letter. It was only known to him. Honorable Speaker, the second paragraph, when he was asked if scribbling of the letter was confirmed by the CEC handwriting, he said he had not consulted any handwriting expert, nor did he counter-check with the accused to ascertain the writing or scribbling or not. Honorable Speaker, this is the mover's response. And Honorable Speaker, when you look at the person who is being impeached, is a person working in the office of the governor. And that letter that is purportedly brought for us here to identify the authenticity, which even the mover cannot be able to confirm under the speaker, by given virtue, then it was written by the CEC's office. What do you expect the CEC to do? The CEC in the office of the governor. Even with anything, governor cannot even be the one sitting to vote. It is very possible that the governor can be able to direct people under him to even draft letters under the speaker. Under the speaker, when you go to gross violation of the Constitution, and I am throwing you to first paragraph, third line. To support this claim, the mover presented the committee with a typed letter, no letterhead, no signature. He further claimed that he had brought witnesses to confirm that the letter was filled by the CEC office. The witness who confirmed that she was the CEC secretary confirmed to the committee that the affidavit presented as evidence had not been signed before the advocate. The document presented had both the advocate's stamp and her signature, yet she indicated that her signature was never appended before the advocate. Honorable Speaker, a witness decanting his own evidence before the committee. Honorable Speaker, I am taking you to that second paragraph. Having confirmed that the document before the committee could not be relied upon, the witness asked the committee to decide. The witness now telling the committee, this is not my see. I never signed a letter before an advocate, but the letter that I am seeing before you has my signature and signed by the advocate. And it tells the committee, me, I have given you my evidence, you, the committee, decide what to do. Honorable Speaker, and you want us to believe in that kind of evidence to send an individual home and say this guy will never hold public office. Honorable Speaker, without even laboring too much, I am taking you to last paragraph of page 50. And saying, on allegation of breach of Leadership and Integrity Act, section 34, Honorable, you will have an opportunity, Honorable Daly. No, allow me to make my presentation. I was spoken. Honorable Daly, have I spoken? I have not spoken. Okay, thank you. I was telling Honorable Mova, Honorable Speaker. Allow Honorable Daly to inform me. Okay. I have allowed it.
Honorable boss, all the honorable members, honorable boss Marula, you know, if you want to become a speaker, what to do? You just write for it, you don't become a speaker. So honorable Ondani, just inform me.
Mr. Speaker, I'm James Ondani, MCA of Tendere. And Mr. Speaker, when I stand, and thank you for giving me the opportunity, when I stand to give information, I'm giving to the House, and my voice must be heard. Mr. Speaker, I've heard the Honorable Ndemo say that once somebody is impeached or is removed from office, Mr. Speaker, cannot hold office, Mr. Speaker. I want to remember what was done to Honorable Kindiki Kithure, Mr. Speaker. He was a deputy speaker in the Senate, Mr. Speaker. He was removed. And they were saying how good he was, Mr. Speaker. But currently, Mr. Speaker, he is a minister. He was removed by impeachment.
Honorable member, honorable, before you proceed, I want to agree with member that Honorable Ondani has misled the House. Honorable Kindiki was not impeached. Yes, Honorable Speaker, I wanted perhaps for the information of this House, there is a difference between a vote of no confidence and being impeached, Honorable Speaker. When you place a vote of no confidence on an impeached office there, like you, the deputy speaker, or myself as a chair, that is not impeachment. We're talking about impeachment here that touches on leadership and integrity of a state office, Honorable Speaker. So that's the difference that I want to thank you for guiding Honorable that. Honorable Speaker, as I head to conclusion, when you look to page 50, the last paragraph, on allegation on breach of Leadership and Integrity Act, Section 34, that bars the state officers from bullying. We checked with the mover, who provided the following names of officers who had been bullied, who the mover had alleged had been bullied. One, Wilfred Oga Mageto, Diana Okimwa, and Lilian Maisiba. The invitations were forwarded to these individuals. They honored the summons. They all left the premise without the permission of the chair. The committee did not have an opportunity to hear from the individuals who were bullied by the accused. On this charge, bullying, there was no testimony. Honorable Speaker, when you see the committee make a conclusion of people who are bullied and say the evidence was actually accused, and then here there is a report that all the three witnesses who were bullied were summoned, they come and sat there. As the proceedings were going on, they actually rose and walked away. And the committee makes findings and said that allegation has been substantiated, Honorable Speaker. And the women saying they feared the move. And so, under which, Honorable Speaker, under which were you making conclusion of substantiation for people who have actually walked away? Because those people are not able to provide evidence. Honorable Speaker, it can only tell you the manner and the determination that is there, Honorable Speaker, to send this Honorable Ndemo. Honorable Speaker, let me make this last remark. I am a Christian in the church. Honorable Speaker, I want to say a member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Matthew chapter 7, verse 12 says, so whatever you wish that others will do to you, do also to others, says the Lord. Honorable Speaker, as you sit on that chair, and as honorable, we have young people, we have young children. I have 3 daughters and a boy in my house. They are growing and I will be struggling to get jobs for them. What I expect for them to be done today is what will be done to my children, Honorable Speaker. And I don't think there is any honorable member here who will teach his own daughter or boy to the university, and before they reach the apex of their retirement, they see them being sent home. The same is repeated in Luke chapter 6, verse 31. But Luke chapter 6, verse 31 adds something. It says, treat all. And I want all the members to underline the word all. Treat all like you want to be treated. And more than, treat all as God has treated you. Honorable Speaker, that when you treat all, treat all as you wish to be treated, but above all, treat them as God has treated you. And I want honorable members to ask, in which manner has God treated them? As God has treated them, let them treat Honorable Ndemo, this Honorable Speaker, and as a meet. Thank you. Honorable Leader of Minority.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand understanding Order 94 to ask this House, Mr. Speaker, the limitation of time so that each member who stands, Mr. Speaker, should at least debate for 2 minutes to allow every member to debate. If we come to this House, Mr. Speaker, and everybody start preaching like Honorable Amos, we are not going to move out of this assembly. So I'm requesting that members, kindly you allow us 2 minutes each so that every member can have an opportunity to debate. And I ask Honorable Mutume to second.
I second, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I want us to agree that this is a very serious matter, and that just as the first speakers are putting it, most people might want to contribute. And I want to ask that we limit the debate to at least 2 minutes. When you feel you can take more, you can ask for it. Honorable Boss Mairura.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. From the outset, I want to stand to oppose this motion. And I also want to make in record that I was privileged to be among the members in the other committee that was constituted by this assembly while they investigate this CEC, whether they qualifies for an impeachment or not, Honorable Speaker. I did record my dissenting voice, Honorable Speaker, but more important, I want to bring to this House that Honorable Speaker, when we judge members as a court, Honorable Speaker, or when the court judges, Honorable Speaker, it should be an evidence beyond no reasonable doubt for one to get charged, Honorable Speaker. No, Speaker, I want the House to know that among the 4 witnesses we interrogated, Honorable Speaker, none, not even one, Honorable Speaker, had an issue with the CC administration, Honorable Speaker. And that tells you, the Honorable House, Honorable Speaker, as we are going to make a verdict, what can guide us, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, some witnesses even dropped and said they cannot appear because they do not have any information regarding the matter that was up before us, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it pains me as a young man and as a young father that today it can go into this, Honorable Speaker, that I was part and parcel of members of an assembly that sent somebody to political oblivion, career oblivion, and that makes us understand what the lives of that young man.
Your 2 minutes are done, but I can add it a second.
I'm going to go to Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me to quote one man called Charles Bokosik, who lived in the year 1920 to 1994, Honorable Speaker. Charles Bokosik said, Honorable Speaker, injustice. He said that maybe injustice is injustice until it happens to you, Honorable Speaker. And that was the harsh truth, Honorable Speaker. I ask the member that today, Honorable Ndemo may accept the verdict of this House, and they can leave us to the Bible, Romans chapter 12, verse 19 to 21, whereby we are told that let God avenge for those who cannot revenge. And Honorable Speaker, all of us knows that God's revenge is more painful than any other revenge on this world, Honorable Speaker. I want to urge the members with a lot of humility, a lot of kindness, let us not impeach Dr. Ndemo. There are more ways of solving crisis. We can use arbitration, we can use mediation, and Honorable Speaker, that can end us in a serious, sober way of solving crisis when they arise, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, with those very few remarks, I beseech this Honorable House to give a verdict
that can go into history and that will not let God avenge on behalf of Dr. Ndemo.
Thank you. Now,
Thank you.
you spent 3 minutes and 30 seconds on future. I was saying we give one person this side and one person this side. One of the station.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ours as an assembly is to legislate, represent, and oversight, and on behalf of the people of Michuli, I'm rising to support the motion that is before this August House. Mr. Speaker, we and the members are contributing and giving alternatives on how this motion could have been approached before. I want to remind them that we have a responsibility as an house not to arbitrate, but to oversight and legislate. Every state officer has an obligation and a moral obligation to abide by the oath of affirmation that we took and ensure that the principles and values governing the conduct of public officers is keenly observed. Mr. Speaker, when you go through the information or that has been given, it is either wrong for our CEC to give himself duties which clearly lies on a different entity, especially where you find a CEC creating a position in service level and going to an extent of recruiting and assigning it to a specific individual work that does not belong to him, that belongs to the service board. Mr. Speaker, it is wrong for a CEC to run.
That is one point I want to make on the videos of what Honorable Speaker mixed it. Second, Honorable Speaker, point. Honorable Speaker, secondly, even this booth that we have here, this assembly is an assembly of traditions, practices, and precedents, as Honorable Speaker. In the past, during the recent impeachment of the Speaker, the Speaker then, Honorable David Kombo, we ensure that we do not even utilize that very particular. But Honorable Speaker, we can even have